Hello, today I'm going to be talking about tight writing. Now some of you may be thinking, wait a minute, isn't tight a bad thing? Well, yes, in some cases it can be problematic, as you will see.
This turtleneck is so constricting. It squeezes me. I feel like I'm going to choke.
My headband is so tight. It's pushing into my head.
Mine too, I have such a bad headache.
Dude, my pants are so tight. I can't breathe or bend over.
Loosen your belt, dude.
Good idea.
Ooh, it's evident from our examples that tight turtlenecks, tight headbands, and tight pants can be troublesome. Tight writing, on the other hand, will not cause you to choke. It's quite beneficial. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at tight writing. Tight writing is writing that is clear, concise, and to the point. It doesn't ramble or go on and on and on, and you're wondering, what is the author trying to say here? Tight writing is going to be free of clutter. It's easier to comprehend, and because it's easier to comprehend, it's going to take less time to read. Now, if we take a look at this bedroom, which appears to be quite a disaster, you can see it's messy, it's unorganized, and it's ineffective. I don't know how anyone would find anything in this pile of junk. Your writing, on the other hand, I am guessing is going to be in much better shape. Your writing by now hopefully has an introduction with a thesis statement in it. It has a body that's developing that thesis statement, and you've got a conclusion in place. But you might want to take a closer look. Is your writing as clean as it could be? Is it as clear as we want it to be? So let's take a look at how we can do that. There are 5 ways to clean up or tighten your writing. And no, you're not going to need a dust rag. And while we're going to be doing a lot of cutting, you won't need a scissors either. What you will need, however, is your brain and the delete button. If we take a look at the first step, number 1, cut unnecessary words. This is a simple step. All you need to do is get rid of those words that are just taking up space. Words like very, many, actually, just, so, a lot could be added to this list. Oftentimes, they're not really doing a whole lot for your writing, and therefore, they can go. If you take a look at the sentence, it was like so cold. Obviously, the like and the so don't need to be there. And if it's so cold, you can change that to freezing. So now you've condensed your sentence to it was freezing outside, a stronger sentence. Here we have another example. Truly, it was a very pleasant day that I really enjoyed. We have 11 words there. If we cut the truly, the very, and the really, we're down to 8 words. It was a pleasant day that I enjoyed. And we can cut it even further and be more direct by saying, I enjoyed the pleasant day. Really rather simple. If you take a look at number 2, this one is also simple. Here we're going to cut redundant pairs or categories. So if you see something like true facts, aren't all facts true? Do you really need to state that they're true? If you're asking someone for their past history, isn't their history in the past? So you don't need to state past. You can go on over to categories, small in size, yellow in color. Do you need to state it's a color? We know yellow is a color. The same way with the month of August. Here we have some examples. So flowers that were yellow in color, we're simply stating yellow flowers. Each and every child joined in the cheer. We can say every child joined in the cheer. And the chair is so heavy in weight. Or just simply say the chair is heavy. The third way that we can clean up our writing or make it tight is to cut wordy phrases. So if you take a look at due to the fact that, what we're really stating there is because, or in the event of, we mean if. At this point in time, that could be at this point, or currently, or presently. You can see there that there are a few more that follow. Now, if we take a look at one of the examples, due to the fact that the sophomores were so attentive and really used all the right tight writing tips, Mrs. Schrader will reward them in the near future. 27 words. We can then cut out the ones that you see in yellow there, phrases that we don't really need to state that way, that we can condense. And we have now, because the sophomores were so attentive and really used all the tight writing tips, Mrs. Schrader will soon reward them. We've cut it down to 20 words. And if you take a look, we've got the so and the really. Are they necessary? Probably not. So we can do some further cutting and get it down to 18 words in the last sentence there. Here we have more phrases to cut or change, and these aren't going to be as obvious as the others. Sometimes you'll find you're going to need to search a little bit to make your writing tighter or cleaner. The sophomores, who have all the brains, will surely figure it out. We've got 12 words there, and if we do some cutting, we can end up with the intelligent sophomores will figure it out. Much more direct. Next we have the students looked over the story, which happened to have a lot of mistakes, and corrected all of them. There we have 19 words, and we've cut that down to the students looked over the story and corrected all of the mistakes. And there we have 11. And if you go back to this sentence, sophomores, you might see that there could be a punctuation mistake there. So let's see if you can figure that one out. Our next step, number 4, is cutting your passive writing, or in other words, changing your passive voice to active voice. Now, you've probably heard of this in the past. Your active voice is going to be a stronger voice. It's going to be more interesting to read. It's going to be more exciting. However, there are times when you will want to use passive voice, but it's not real often or common. So really strive to make your voice more active when you can, and that's also going to cut down on some of the wording. So if we take a look at the sentence there, the basketball star was adored and followed by young children whenever he came to town. We've only cut 2 words in this, but you're going to see that it's a little stronger. We see the action of young children adored and followed the basketball star whenever he came to town. We put the emphasis on the children who were doing the adoring, not the basketball star who was receiving the adoration. Here we have more active versus passive voice, and we're going to try for the active. If we take a look at the sentence, the audience was impressed with Morgan's speech, which had really strong images that they could picture and examples that were meaningful. In the active voice, we could say Morgan impressed the audience with really strong images that they could picture and examples that were meaningful. So we've only lost 3 words there, but we have changed it to an active voice. And we can make it even more direct by getting rid of some of the extra things in this sentence that we don't need. So now we have Morgan impressed the audience with strong images and meaningful examples. Very clear and to the point, and we really haven't lost any details. We've made it stronger. Our last step, number 5, is to cut repetitive ideas. And this step is going to take more practice, and it's going to take more work. You're going to have to think about it a little more. So what you're going to do is read through the sentences or the paragraphs, take small chunks of writing at a time, and then look at them. Are there ideas that are rambling or repeating themselves? If there are, you're going to need to change that. Ask yourself as the writer, what point am I really trying to make? So if we take a look at the paragraph there, the Mohawks are the best team. They are the best because they are so talented. They work really hard and they try their hardest, and they never give up. At practice, many players stick around afterwards to shoot. They are a team that is hard to beat. Now, the first thing I notice about this is there is some repetition here at the beginning. We have the Mohawks are the best team. They are the best because they are so talented. So we could combine those first two sentences. That's one way of making your writing tighter, is to combine some sentences. The Mohawks are the best team because they are so talented. But as I take a look at this paragraph, is that really my topic sentence there? Am I really focusing on they are the best because they are so talented? Or is it, or are there some other things involved there? And as I look closer, I see that they work hard, they never give up, they stick around afterwards. So I'll probably want to revamp that topic sentence a little bit, which you'll see in a moment. The other thing I notice about this paragraph is I see hard, hardest, and hard again. We've got some repetition there, so maybe we want to change our words around to make it more interesting. In the past, sometimes we've talked as repetition as a literary element, and that can be a good addition to our writing if it adds. But in this case, I don't feel that it's really adding to our writing. So let's take a look at what some revising can do. Here you can see I've taken the paragraph that we read from the last slide and I've shrunk it down and copied and pasted and put it on this slide so we can refer back to it. This is the revised paragraph. It is more than talent that makes the Mohawks the best team. The Mohawks possess a strong work ethic. At practice, they often stay late to shoot. During the games, they never give up, fighting for the ball until the final buzzer. They are a tough team to beat. Now, if you take a look, we've got 49 words here and 47, so we haven't really cut, we've added. But we've cut out some garbage up here, which has allowed more room to bring in some extra details. Here we had the repetition. They work really hard and they try their hardest. Well, somebody who does that is going to have a strong work ethic. So we've changed that around a little bit. And then we've distinguished between practice time and game time, which we didn't do here, but it does add to the meaning. So at practice, they often stay late to shoot. And if you look, I had shoot around, but I did cross that out. That was not necessary. And then during the games, they never give up, fighting for the ball until I had the end, which would have been fine, and it would have been fewer words or less words than the final buzzer. But actually the final buzzer, I thought, kind of gave it a nice concluding, a nice conclusion to the sentence, and maybe you're going to hear that final buzzer in your ears as you're reading it, so it's going to add some details there. We've changed a hard team to beat to a tough team to beat. So overall, you've gone from 47 to 49, as I mentioned, but you've got a lot more detail. So it's not always about getting the fewest words, but it's getting the best words. So if you apply these 5 writing tips that we've talked about, I believe you're going to see some real improvement in your writing. It's going to be stronger and more effective and more professional. And that's going to pay off for you. You're going to get better grades with your assignments. Hopefully you're going to get that acceptance to the college of your choice. Your essays are going to earn you some scholarships to help pay for that college. And you're going to land that job that you want and hopefully get some job promotions.